thumbs up?
what I did?
Oh, it's worse, the other one.
I thought I was doing it too.
She couldn't hear us, we had the mic on.
Oh, okay.
So far away from everybody.
We're ready,
I know,
okay.
we're lucky.
All right,
We're
everyone is
lucky.
awake and we are ready to go. So I believe Thomas begins by smashing the gavel. So we'll call the meeting to order. And we will begin by reading the mission statement. The Norfolk Public Schools offers a safe, joyful, and challenging learning environment that meets the needs of our diverse students. Through school, family, and community partnerships, we provide an education that inspires lifelong learners and cultivates caring and productive citizens of our ever-changing world. Roll call, please.
Jennifer Nguyen.
Shannon Menestas.
Victoria Saldana.
Medora Champagne.
Greta Lardy?
And that is our skeleton crew this evening. Okay, so the first order of business would be public comment, but I believe we have, once again, we have none. So we will move on. This is a super easy job. There we go. We also have no correspondence, so that is item number 2 off the list. And now it is time for the report of the chair. I feel like I'm getting feedback. Does it sound
A little bit.
strange? Okay, as long as it doesn't sound, I feel like I'm talking in a tin can, but if it doesn't sound that way to anyone else, I'll just keep going. We have some retirees from the school district that we are going to be recognizing this evening. They are ending their time with the district in this 20-21 school year, so I'm going to...
I'll invite them in,
Oh,
and we can read the
perfect.
descriptions. And just so that everybody know, Thomas Doyle was not well tonight, so he sends his great appreciation and was really sad to miss the recognition of our retirees.
We'll start with Cindy Green.
I do, yeah. I don't know.
Just like my dog.
The dog whistles.
Our first retiree tonight, who we are thrilled to have with us, is Cindy Grady.
Okay. Hi, good evening. Thanks for coming, and thank you for your service to the district. I have a little bit of a bio I'm going to share with our viewers and the rest of the committee. Cindy joined the Norfolk Public Schools in August of 1999 as a special education resource at what was then the Freeman Centennial School, and has been dedicated and committed, and committed driving force ever since. Organized, sweet, caring, conscientious, loyal, and calm are just a few words of the many that describe Cindy as a teacher and as a person. She is a gracious team player who does not hesitate to offer a helping hand no matter how busy she may be. Always with an infectious smile on her face and her soft tone, she is the consummate professional. Just by informally chatting with Cindy, one could immediately sense the love and devotion she has for her 4 children and family. Cindy is also a talented cook and baker, often making homemade breads and cakes to share generously with her coworkers during the holidays. Cindy is looking forward to beginning the next chapter in life and spending as much time as she wants, surrounded by her loving husband, children, and grandchildren. We are sorry to see you leave our school community and wish you all the best in your future endeavors. We have a few.
Thank you so much. But I need you far away.
Thank you so much. I would give you a big hug, but unfortunately.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Cindy.
Thank you. Congratulations. We wish you the best. Thank you. And I will bring in next Rita Boyd.
Okay.
Have a seat for you at the table as well. You can either join her or you can join the audience, whatever you prefer.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us in person tonight. This is
Thank you for having me.
the largest meeting we've had in 18 months. That's right. That's really exciting.
And many of your colleagues
like,
are
what's
joining
going
from
on?
home.
Fantastic. Okay. So to recognize Rita Boyd, we have a little bit of background information on her as well. Rita is one of the backbones of the Norfolk Public Schools. She became a special education teaching assistant in 1989. So she has been with the district for 32 years and worked 22 of those years with Mrs. Cindy Grady. Understanding, empathetic, soft-spoken, and with excellent interpersonal skills, Rita has a gift of being strongly intuitive to her students' needs. She motivates and engages with students easily and builds amazing rapport with them. She collaborates with other teachers and mentors her fellow assistants. Rita also contributes to the Norfolk school community by working with the FK Site-Based Committee and Paraprofessional Evaluation Committee. Rita is the proud mom of 2 very accomplished adult children and will enjoy more time with them, as well as speed walking, traveling, interior designing, and touring on a Harley Davidson with her husband. Sounds great. Do you have a Road King? Amazing. So we have a few things for you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. We have several other retirees who were not able to attend in person tonight but are joining us virtually. So if Anna, Linda, and Lisa, if you want to come to these seats, you'll be able to see them, and I'll move them forward, and we can go on. So we have Judy.
Okay. Okay. So I will begin with Norina DeFilippo, who I see joining us virtually. Hello, thank you for waiting.
Hi, Norina.
By way of background, Norina is the epitome of a professional educator. She began her wonderful 16-year career as an early childhood assistant in 2004 and retired in December of 2020. Her work ethic and dedication to her students and fellow educators, along with her keen intelligence, are truly traits for all of us to celebrate and emulate. But what really sets Norina apart are her endearing qualities that contribute to her off-the-charts emotional intelligence. Norina wanted her students to feel competent and accomplished as learners and happy with their relationships with their peers. Her heightened sense of purpose and goal orientation affected the achievement of and success of her students in immeasurable ways. Always humble and unassuming, if you asked her directly, she would totally underestimate the impact of what she has done for the HOD school family.
Wow.
Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
years of service to the district and to their students, to our students.
Thank you.
Thank you, Norina. And we have mailed, because you weren't able to be here tonight, we've mailed your gift card from the school committee. And thank you for all of your hard work and effort on behalf of our students. So we wish you the best for a fabulous retirement.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you for joining us. We also, because of the pandemic, weren't able to recognize all of our retirees from last year as well, and we do have a couple of others that are retiring this year who weren't able to join us. Pam, were you able to get Judy Nidzwigian?
I don't know, he said that
No
tried
one's,
to get in yet. I
Okay.
sent her all the stuff again. Yeah.
okay, so while we're waiting for Judy, we could move on with the other HR days. The FK staff. Do you want to do Linda King?
Sure, happily. Well, not happily, because I wish she was staying with the district, but happy to sing her praises. Linda LaRusso King is a kind-hearted, conscientious, and loyal employee and a lifelong resident of Norfolk, where she and her husband of 35 years raised and educated their 3 children. Linda now has 5 grandchildren, with her oldest grandchild being a young student in our preschool program. She also shares her home with 4 adorable dogs. Patchy, I'm thinking, or
Yep.
Patchy, I'm not sure. Okay, Patchy, Bart, Nico, and Star-Lord. I like that. Clearly, the naming of the pets is a family affair. Linda started working in the school cafeteria as a food service substitute in 1995 and continued to do so until she was hired permanently in 1999. She worked in that capacity until 2003, at which time she was appointed as the school's food service manager from 2003 to 2006. In 2006, she was appointed to the Food Services Director, and she remained in that position ever since. Linda is an expert on Disney trivia, visiting the Disney East Parks more than 30 times. Wow, that's a lot of walking. Linda and her family plan to continue their tradition of traveling to Disney during her retirement. Trained as a baker and a chef, Linda plans to have weekly cooking classes for her grandchildren. In her spare time, she hopes to resume her favorite hobbies of crocheting and cross-stitching. Linda, thank you so much for your really impressive years of service with the district. We're sorry to see you go.
Yes, and we had a little recognition of Linda earlier today and wish her the best in her retirement. She will certainly be missed by all. So congratulations to Linda. We have a couple of other people from the HL of Day School who were not able to make it. We have Diane Galano and Lisa Ziegler, who are assistants, if you want to move on to theirs.
I do. Just have to, I'm not 100% sure I have those. Unless these are, oh wait, no, it's double-sided. Thank you so much. Not the most organized. Okay, so Diane Galano began her 20-year engagement as an early childhood instructional assistant in September of 2000. The best way to summarize the working style of Diane is that she consistently and enthusiastically went well beyond her job description of teacher assistant. Her love for children and her quest to provide a nurturing setting and the most effective support possible for her young students was always her ultimate goal. She was a skillful and fully invested team player as she worked in partnership with teachers and assistants. She was organized, thorough, creative, and dedicated, and had a never-ending reservoir of energy as she multitasked throughout her day. Her unique talents also included a flair for decorating, creating, cooking, and baking. Diane could turn the most routine event into a true celebration with her extra touches. Although Diane retired at the end of 2020, we know that she fully enjoyed her first year of retirement and looks forward to many more years as she continues to enjoy time and trips to the beach with her husband, her children, and her beloved grandchildren. Thank you, Diane, for 20 years of service to the school district.
Thank you.
Lisa Ziegler.
Okay, Lisa Ziegler is next. I got it. Okay. Before Lisa began her career in 2001 as an early childhood assistant, she was a preschool volunteer mom. Before retiring in the midst of a pandemic year, Lisa went on to serve 19 years in the district. Over the years, Mrs. Ziegler's kindness and generosity with her students and their families have been evident on a regular basis. She knew her students and their families very well and celebrated special events with both the school family and their at-home families. Lisa made sure that each child was celebrated and recognized for their unique talents while always being attentive to learning and growth in the areas of social emotional learning and academic readiness. Fostering friendship, sharing, caring, cooperation, and collaboration have been the hallmark of Lisa's teaching and learning style. After years of dedicated service at HOT, Lisa retired in December of 2020. We hear that she enjoys a wonderful, healthy, and happy retirement with her family and frequent visits to the Cape. Thank you so much, Lisa, for your years of service to the Norfolk Public Schools.
Congratulations to Lisa as well. The last retiree we have to recognize tonight is Judy Nidzwicki. She's a second grade teacher at the HL of Day, and we're having a little bit of trouble with her getting her logged in. So what I would suggest is if any of the administrators had any comments they wanted to share about the retirees as a whole, or we could also move forward with the agenda and circle back when Judy's ready.
Sure. Has anyone?
Yes, she's.
She's trying to log
We sent
in.
her the code, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think many of these assistants, are general ed and special education, supports. And I mean, the one thing that I would just like to
Circle back.
say to all of the retirees is to just really, thank them
here.
for their dedicated service over the years because they went above and beyond to meet the needs of students. And just really, let them know that they really made a difference for children. and really that their life's work, you can see that many of these women were there over 20 years, really, really positively impacted the lives of kids. So thank you very much.
We have Judy with us, so welcome, Judy. We apologize. I know there were some technical difficulties, but we were very happy that you could make it. And Medora has a few comments to share.
Yes. Judy began her career with the Norfolk Public Schools as an early childhood instructional assistant in the mid-90s. After 2 years in 1997, her dream came true when she was appointed as a second grade classroom teacher at the H. Olive Day School. And she served the district in that role for 22 consecutive years, teaching second grade. Judy has a kind, soft, uplifting, and composed demeanor that allows her to embrace the whole child with compassion for their well-being and an intuitive understanding of their uniqueness. With her hands-on approach, Judy easily connects with her students in the classroom and then goes a step beyond by connecting with her students' families, forging meaningful homeschool relationships. Judy exhibits these same qualities while working with her fellow teachers in the H. Olive Day School family. She highly respects the many skillful talents of her colleagues and will often seek guidance and support from them, as she is a passionate, lifelong learner. As she nears retirement, Judy looks forward to spending more time in her home near the ocean and discover Rhode Island. She enjoys gardening, cooking, boating, and precious time with her friends and family. And as the parent of one of Judy's alums, I have to say she is certainly kind and gentle and compassionate and wants to find the unique talents of all of her students. And I was actually reminiscing with another parent recently about Judy always had a special dress-up event at the end of the year where students would be a famous character, and I passed on the Benjamin Franklin costume that my son went to someone else in town who needed it for another thing, and it was very nostalgic to let it go. So.
And I'll piggyback on the Judy Nitzwicki fan club. My daughter Leah had you this year, and I can't say how happy I am that she had you in this crazy year as a teacher, because not only did she learn, I could tell by what she was sent home, but she had fun and she had a positive, she's just happy and a positive second grade experience. So thank you. You will be missed, but enjoy retirement. Thank you, Judy.
Retirement.
So congratulations to Judy. And we're thrilled that you were able to join us tonight. And the school committee has some cards and things that we will send through the mail to you since you weren't able to be here in person. So thank you very much, and we wish you the best for a wonderful retirement, and you will be missed.
Thank you.
Linda and Lisa, did you have?
It's not over.
So congratulations to all of our retirees. We certainly will miss them. And as Anna said, they have made a dramatic difference in countless children's lives over the lengthy careers that and time that they've served the Norfolk Public Schools. So we wish them all the best. And look forward to this
Amazing.
next stage of life for you.
Amazing.
Linda and Lisa,
Thank
if you
you.
have anything you want to
I
add,
think
we'll.
I'll just echo what Anna said too. I think that, all of our retirees just have a meaningful impact basically on their students, and they build strong relationships with, their teachers that makes them feel safe, that they want to learn, and that, they build those meaningful relationships with families, which actually also just enhances student learning. So I think, we just want to wish everybody well, good health and happiness as you retire, basically, and take that new journey. So enjoy every minute of it, but thank you from the bottom of our hearts and the Norfolk Public Schools for all the hard work that you've given us through the years. Build those meaningful relationships.
I think that listening to all these accolades too really drives home the importance of what our assistants do and how closely they work with our teachers. They are just, they're side by side, carrying out the plans, providing for the children. And then we have the teachers who are leading that and guiding that, but then we have such wonderful assistants that carry out the mission. So, and I think also, the length of time that all these people have been here, I think it's testimony to the fact that they like us. They like the Norfolk Public Schools. They like being here. And as a person who started here myself many years ago, never intending to stay more than a year, because I thought, oh, this will be fun to work in a little rural community, which was really rural at that point, and then move on to urban teaching, which is what I thought I wanted to do. And it's just something that just keeps you here. You know, it pulls, and I think it's that sense of community in the town and the sense of community in the schools that we've established too. And these people that were honored tonight were wonderful members of our school family.
Absolutely.
So congratulations to all the
Yes.
retirees, and thank you for joining us tonight, and we certainly wish you all the best.
We'll miss
Okay.
you.
We will.
Yeah. Good night, Judy.
She's got an early commute.
She goes to bed early and gets up like at 3. Yeah, so, yeah. Bye-bye. Bye, Narina.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks for
Bye,
being here.
Narina.
Bye, good night.
Alright, so we are going to move on with the agenda. You are welcome to stay, but you have been working around the clock, so you are very welcome to leave.
We'll take that as you leave. Evaluation time.
Right. Thanks so much for coming
Okay,
today.
thank you.
Bye. Bye. Have a good summer.
Yes, you too. Bye.
Okay, I'm sure you're all really tired of hearing me talk, so I think I only have one more thing under the school committee chair function here, which is a discussion of the superintendent evaluation process and timeline. Or just a reminder for the committee members that how that flows is that we will receive evaluation forms by email from Pam, and she will ask you nicely to turn them around by a certain point, and then maybe send you a still very nice but not quite as nice email reminding you to actually turn them around and actually get them back to Thomas on time. I don't want to have you sending them to Pam. Thomas will compile them, and he'll kind of aggregate everything and organize a presentation we usually discuss that in
August.
August, kind of right before the beginning of the year. So Ingrid, I think, generally will provide some feedback to the committee members, kind of hard data feedback on progress towards goals that are in the, kind of goal set plans that the district has and that she has as the superintendent. So it's pretty straightforward process, but number one, make sure you do them. Number two, send them back to Thomas with sufficient time for him to sort of go through.
Compile everything.
Get everything organized. Yep.
Great. So we'll send that all out tomorrow.
Great. And now we will move away from me to the superintendent's report.
All right. So the first thing that we have for tonight is we did conduct a curriculum review of our social studies program. We began that work actually a year ago and then delayed implementing new curriculum this year as a result of the COVID pandemic. We had so many changes to instruction that it just wasn't the right time to roll out a new program. So we decided to carry the review over into the second year. And Vicki is here tonight to share with you the recommendations of the Social Studies Committee for strengthening and realigning our curriculum with the new history, social science frameworks. So I'll turn it over to Vicki.
Sure. So just a little bit of quick background. In 2018, DESE came out with new frameworks for teaching social studies. They actually changed even the name to History and Social Sciences as the official name, and I think they did a really great job kind of encompassing what social studies is supposed to be all about. And it's really laden in with a deep emphasis in civics, really reflecting the diversity of the United States, contributions that are made by women, men of all ethnicities, kind of really looking at world cultures, and overall, the really focus on developing those critical thinking skills as students kind of explore history and the meaning of it and all the different contributors and how it affected our world throughout and how it impacts them today. There's also a big focus on inquiry thinking and inquiry-based lessons. So it's a really exciting shift. I think I'm really looking forward to the next year where we're going to fully implement the standards. One of the things that we had to do, though, is conduct a review where we had to take a look at our current curriculum and to see how it aligned with the new standards. My counterpart, who you know very well, Anita Mecklenburg, started this work, and I got to kind of walk in and just do the tail end of it, but she really did the bulk of the work. But she formed a committee, a representative of teachers from different grade levels. And the committee continued with me throughout the school year. We took an in-depth look at our current curriculums, identified areas of gaps and there was a lot of shifts also that occurred in different grade levels. So we really needed to start looking at how we're gonna kind of accommodate and what are we gonna use for resources in order to supplement these new standards. When Anita was doing the review with her work, they did a really thorough job of kind of identifying what the driving questions that were guiding the review process. They surveyed staff and families as well. As you can see, the results are in the memo, which really kind of helped drive us the process as well and kind of give us some feedback and areas of focus. So basically what the review has shown is that there's definitely our curriculum that we have used and have written. There are some parts that are really strong, and we really thought that we can, with just a few shifts and engagements, we can, enhancements, we can really continue with using the resources we have. But at the same time, there were definitely areas, especially within civics in the upper grades, that we needed to look for outside resources. There was an area that was also identified for need for professional development for staff, especially in the areas of how to teach civics and have those really deep and thoughtful conversations with students around Civil War, around immigration, like those really important topics that have now shifted to the elementary level. And also another big component is how do you bring in primary sources and expose students to those various point of views so they can kind of draw their own conclusions and have those rich conversations in the classroom. The review also identified just some supports that families have requested in order to support the teaching of civics and social studies curriculum in terms of resources. So taking all of that into consideration, we would like to request the school committee, and I don't know if I'm saying this process correctly as part, but for the allocation for resources to purchase the following materials. So in kindergarten, because we really found that given the topics, that they really are looking more about community and themselves, that we really have sufficient resources that we're able to supplement ourselves if there's anything that is needed. In grades 1 and 2, we would like to request $9,440 to purchase National Geographic. National Geographic is one of the resources we looked at that aligns pretty well with the grade 1 and 2 standards and helps us to fill those areas of gaps that we identified. We're looking to purchase a soft cover print workbook and a 1-year license for digital materials. Digital materials give an exposure to some really rich primary sources, videos that teachers can really incorporate into their pedagogy. For grades 2 through 5, and it's a little bit delineated, and grades 3 through 5, even though we're using the same organization, we're purchasing 2 different components of it. So Primary Source is a Massachusetts-based organization that actually DESE has partnered with. They're developing some units that'll be ready in about 2 years. They have developed some really rich lessons around that really support the teaching of civics. For grades 2 through 5, they have something that they developed called close reading exercises for elementary social studies students. It really will provide teachers with some rich text and access to those primary sources we talked about that are appropriate for the different grade levels. They're fully aligned to the Massachusetts standards. And for grades 3 through 5, it's the only grade levels that are available. That's why we're asking for the specific grade level. They have developed lessons that are called Cornerstones for Civic Engagement. And those lessons really take a deep look into those topics I mentioned before, like how to have those conversations around the Civil War and immigration, and colonization, and they have really rich materials and resources that kind of do a really thorough job of supporting teachers in teaching those the civic standards. The primary source also comes with embedded professional development, which is all included in the cost. The cost for both the close reading exercises and the cornerstones for civic engagement is $6,800.
So it's listed in your packet as 4,000 and 5,000, but Vicki was able to negotiate a great deal, so that price dropped down. Vicki.
Thank you. I also want to mention that we're trying to offset the cost of that. I wrote a grant for primary sources, the DESE release. We're just waiting to hear if we received it or not. So if we do receive the grant, then the grant will cover the cost of that $1,600 as well. And the nice part about the grant is we wrote it for our Rentham and Plainville as well, because we're trying to align our curriculum as much as possible whenever we go through reviews together. So students entering KP will have similar experiences. So we'll let you know if that comes through. But for now, we would like to request $6,800 for that resource. And for grade 6, they're really diving into ancient civilizations, and this is a new. There's a lot of new standards that fall under that topic. And National Geographic actually is one of the strongest alignments with grade levels. The teachers will receive a student text, which is a hardcover, and as well as teacher materials and access to digital tools, which are also filled with, like I said, like there's videos and interactive notebooks type of materials that students can use. And the cost for a 6-year subscription is $12,524. So the total cost of our adoption request for these materials is $28,764. So we're seeking a vote from the school committee to approve the new textbooks and materials.
Before we move on, I just wanted to add a couple of things. Currently, grade 6 is using a National Geographic program, a textbook, which the committee reviewed a couple of years ago. This is a newer version, and that's going to align with the revised standard. So that's a tool that the 6th grade's familiar with. It's high quality. And in reviewing all of the materials, as part of our process, we always use standardized tools to assess the quality. So we use a rubric to look at high quality expectations for social studies print. That looks at assessment quality. It looks at the way different things are portrayed to ensure that they're free from bias. So we use that, and then we also used, Vicki, what was the second rubric you used?
The
as well?
Washington.
Oh, the Washington inventory, again, to make sure that we're adopting materials that are anti-racist, anti-bias, and appropriate for the content. So per policy, the school committee has to approve the adoption of new curriculum texts. The only true text in this is the National Geographic, but the others are, we have a soft print workbook for grade 1, and the others are supplementary curriculum materials. We are recommending at this time the soft print workbook from National Geographic because it's the best tool available right now for grades 1 and 2. We are only looking at that to pilot that for next year to evaluate. DESE is also in the process of publishing new content for grades 1 and 2. So at the end of next year, we may choose to make that transition. If not, if we decide to stay with National Geographic because we like the quality of the content better, then that cost will be an annual cost like our math workbooks. That will be a consumable that we purchase annually. But again, we've gone with the primary source materials for grades 2 through 5 that were partnered with DESE, so we're optimistic about the new content, but we need something for our teachers to use as the foundation for next year. All right?
Vicki, I have a question.
Sure.
Is that okay? Just so I understand it, in case I get asked a question, primary source is actually literally the name of the organization. Because I think I put on my social science hat and I think
Yes.
primary source or secondary source. I'm like, oh,
Right.
they're going to be grabbing like real artifacts. But
We're
no,
going
to
this is the
catchy.
name of the word. That's
Yes.
what I thought of. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's a lot of work,
Yeah.
but okay.
They were trying to be catchy with their name.
I got it. Right. So it's
Yeah.
it's actually literally the organization, and they partnered with DESE, and it's a relatively new partnership.
A couple of years now.
A couple years. So
And they are trying to bring in some primary authentic sources as
Right.
part of
Right.
to enrich the social studies curriculum for students to work with.
And they're aligned obviously with the mass standards, which is nice. And just out of curiosity, were you able to look at any obviously you did, but off the top of your head, could you give me an example of a civics? I'm just trying to wrap my mind of something they might do a lesson on colonization or something. I don't know.
So we did get samples in grades 3, with the grades 3 and 5. One of the areas that we did take a look is immigration for grade 3, because they really do talk about a lot of the Native Americans and the arrival of the Pilgrims. The lessons are structured. There's always like an essential question at the beginning of the lesson, you know what I mean? And then I can't I'd be more than happy to share it with you too, but I'm trying to think off the top of my head. But one of the biggest components that they do have is they've embedded a lot of resources that are really easy to access, and they have where we talked about primary sources, versus secondary sources, and teachers have those for each lesson that they can access, and it is at the students' reading levels, so it's really it really does accompany, and that's something that was really missing in our curriculum, is kind of access to those type of resources. They have kind of done the legwork for us and have looked at all research-based other resources that have been available. It's been approved by the state, because like I said, they've been working together and kind of combined it in a very user-friendly format. It also includes discussion questions to ask students. It includes some projects that students can do together. So it's really gives teachers a lot of resources, but also the autonomy to kind of structure it, So one of our summer works that we're putting together for curriculum work is to kind of look and unpack these resources, and then as we're writing our own curriculum units for like Norfolk based, we're gonna embed all of these resources. But it's a really nice kind of for that civic standards, because it's just only one area. It really does a very comprehensive job of bringing all of those, so we don't have to go out and look at different areas. And like I said, it also embeds professional development for teachers, so there's that is asynchronous, so teachers can watch videos, about different topics. There's also videos for students that are really friendly that they can access, so it has a lot. It probably has more, honestly, than what we could utilize. That's why we kind of need to look at it a little bit, and unpack it. But I think it'll be a really strong resource for them.
Thank you.
But I'd be more than happy, like I said, to share their samples. I think you'll find,
I just wanted to wrap my brain
Yeah.
about the primary source.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Can you read the final dollar amount again, Vicki?
Oh,
It's
sure.
Currently $28,756, is that correct?
28,764.
28,764. Just typically, the committee asks about the budget. Every year, we budget a certain amount of money for new curriculum adoption. And we base it on the nature of the review we're doing. So if we're doing a math curriculum review, we have to budget more, because that's generally textbooks. We had only budgeted $10,000 this year. We typically had $25,000 budgeted for a social studies review, but because of COVID and because of budget cuts, we reduced that line. So we have $10,000 available in this fiscal budget, and next year we have also budgeted for $30,000 for the science review. We will use a portion of that to complete the social studies adoption purchase, which is after July 1. We'd still have all the materials available for the summer for the curriculum writing work we're going to be doing. And again, that amount may go down if we are able to successfully get this grant for the primary source materials. So we're just looking for a vote to approve the purchase of the new social studies materials recommended by Ms. Saldana, with a total cost of $28,764.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the social sciences materials recommended by Ms. Saldana for $28,764.
we have a second?
Second?
All those, any discussion?
I did have one quick question. I know, Dr. Lardy, you had mentioned that with the curriculum that was used, you're able to evaluate, and is that information made public, and will it be made public after this has been in practice for a little bit? Will we be able to see
The
how
curriculum,
it's
the
utilized?
rubrics we use for
Yeah.
evaluating, we can share the rubrics.
Okay.
I happy to share those. We use the same Michigan, I can't remember the full name of it, but it's a Michigan tool for evaluating curriculum bias
Okay.
and
That's
any
what I
kind of
looked- yeah, I
curriculum
was curious.
resource. So we use that for all of our programs. And then we have another one we use that really looks at elements of high-quality social studies content.
Okay,
But we can
great.
share those rubrics, certainly.
That'd be excellent.
This
Okay.
came from Inquiry Ed,
Okay.
which is
Yep.
a well-known organization too that, yep.
Great. Okay. Thank you. That was all.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Our small group.
The next item I have for tonight is the quarterly bullying report. By policy, we report out 4 times a year the status of the bullying situations or any bullying reports. So this past quarter, since April, since we returned to full in-person, we had 2 discipline issues or reports regarding bullying at the H. Olive Day School. Both were fully investigated, but neither met the criteria for bullying. So we took appropriate disciplinary action, worked with families, and resolved those situations. Same is true of Freeman Kennedy. We had 2 discipline issues that were investigated, but neither of them led to a determination of bullying. Again, bullying has to be a pattern of persistent behavior, and there's other criteria involved in that. Sometimes the reports we get are of a single incident or a conflict between students that we investigate but may not meet that criteria. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, next item on the agenda. So at our last meeting, we spoke a little bit about the regionalization plan for our food service department. We had, Rentham and Plainville had already begun the recruitment process for a new food service director. They had advertised and had interviews scheduled. When we were notified of Linda King's retirement plans, I reached out to explore the concept or the idea of regionalizing. And both districts were open to that, and we felt that it was going to be a good, it would be a positive thing for all 3 districts. So the other 2 had already drafted a job description for the regional director of food services. We made some minor adjustments in order to incorporate Norfolk's needs in that. And their 2 school committees have already voted to approve that job description, but I've included it in the packet for your review and approval tonight. Additionally, I'm happy to announce that we have hired the food service director. Her name is Shelley Bernardini. She has a culinary background and a degree from Johnson & Wales University in Rhode Island and has been in the food service for the Bellingham Public Schools for 13 years. We're really excited. I think she's going to bring a lot of new talent and new ideas to the district. Linda King will be retiring on August 15th, so Shelley will be beginning mid-July, and we'll have some time to work collaboratively with Linda. She's actually coming to the district Thursday to meet with Linda and our food service team. Shelley worked with us to develop a job description for the assistant director position, so you'll find that also in your packet. And I am looking for the school committee to vote to approve these 2 job descriptions as we are restructuring this program.
Okay. Can I
You can ask.
please get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the job descriptions of the food program, regional food program.
Do we have a second?
Second.
There's no hiding tonight.
No one else but us.
Any further discussion, other than to say it's amazing the hire was made so quickly? That's kind of a
Yes.
relief.
Yeah.
It's nice to join a process that's
Big
underway.
go, yeah.
And
They
to be
did the
able to have
preliminary
her work with-
screening, and we had a really strong candidate pool.
Oh,
It's nice,
fantastic.
so
That's
it's
good.
very
And you
exciting.
wanted someone with a culinary background too. So.
Yes,
Great.
yes, we did.
If no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed? Passes with flying colors.
Right. All right, next, you've got to get ready to read your lengthy motion.
Let me take a
As you're aware, we have a critical space shortage in Norfolk, which is getting more intense by the day as new enrollment comes in. We had NESDEC do 2 enrollment studies for us, one back in 2017 when we first started the space committee, and then we updated that in 2019 with new information about Chapter 40B projects and current sales in Norfolk. The enrollment projections predicted that we would have 172 students this year in kindergarten. I know that there was a lot of concern in the community, thinking we had 135 last year, that we weren't going to see that kind of real growth realized. We had 169 students this year. So the NESDEC projections have been pretty much on track. We've seen slightly less growth at the upper grade levels than NESDEC predicted. We will reevaluate that, but not dramatically. They were still within about 2.5% of their overall predictions. And we're not quite sure how much of that might be impacted by the pandemic, especially as some of our new families moving in. If you were in a prior district, many districts offered a fully remote option for the full year, so some people may have chosen to have their kids complete their school year in their prior district. Some have, we have more students than we've ever had before in the upper grades in homeschooling programs. So we will reevaluate that in the fall, but we are tracking very close to what NESDEC predicted, which means that we are out of space already at DHL of Day. Next year we will lose the computer lab in order to accommodate another classroom. We expected we'd have to lose that this year, but because some of the classes were remote, we were able to push it off another year. Possibly the art or music room for the short term as well. At the Freeman Kennedy, as the new growth rolls up, we are very quickly going to be out of space there. We applied to the MSBA last year for for participation in their core program, which if we are selected, the tradition or our past history with the MSBA is that they fund about 53% of building projects in Norfolk. That formula is determined by a variety of different factors, and it's different in every district, but that's what they've funded for us in the past. We were not invited into the core program last year because of the number of applications that MSBA received exceeded their funding capacity, and they advised us to reapply this year. Now, because of the pandemic, their timeline is a little funky. So we applied a year ago in May. They were expecting to announce decisions in August, but because part of the review process is they send a team out to the building and they look at all your design plans and everything, they were delayed because of the COVID pandemic, so they didn't announce until April. So we're already in the next year, so we're applying now, and I would expect we would hear in August or September on this new application. So it hasn't delayed significantly, but we would be applying for a second consideration. In order to apply, we have to, in order just to submit the application, the school committee and the select board have to vote to approve me submitting an application to the MSBA. It does not commit the district to moving forward with that building project if we are chosen to participate, but we cannot even apply to the grant without the board's, select board voting and the school committee. Select board voted, was it last Tuesday night, and they voted to approve the application going forward. So I'm bringing it to the committee tonight for your vote to allow us to submit an application to the MSBA. And it has to be worded in a very specific way, so Medora would have to read that motion.
So I'm making this motion, and then I just want to make sure we get it right the
Yep.
first time. All right. Not coming back. All right. Resolved, having convened in an open meeting on June 8th prior to the closing date, the Norfolk School Committee, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated June 16th, 2021, for the Freeman Kennedy School located at 70 Boardman Street, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future. Elimination of existing overcrowding and prevention of severe overcrowding expected to result from increased enrollments, which must be substantiated. The district is currently out of classroom space at the HL of Day School and cannot accommodate the number of classrooms needed next year without impacting other core educational programs. Increased enrollment due to significant building and construction is expected to result in severe overcrowding at the Freeman Kennedy School in the next few years. And hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting this statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the town/school district to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority. All those in favor?
I think you need a second on that motion.
Oh, I need a second. I'm not used to motioning.
Quick
from this
question, it
Yeah,
said
good-
June 8th.
yeah, I was
Should
just
it be
gonna say
June
that.
8th or should it be
June
June
7th.
7th?
I think our meeting was
Oh,
originally June 8th.
Yes,
and
all
we
right, we'll
moved
change it. So as amended by June, it's June 7th, yeah, because we
Friendly
changed the meeting
amendment
day.
to my
it was
pending
supposed to.
motion, June 7th.
Oh,
Thank
all right.
you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Ingrid, I don't, this isn't discussion, I just have can I ask a clarifying question?
Yep.
So if we get an answer in August, best case scenario, then can you help me through the timeline, just for the people at home? Because my kids are gonna be out of there, like, they're not gonna be impacted, but if I was a parent of younger children, I would
From
wanna
the
know
time the
what is
application
going
is
on.
approved to the time the building is constructed and open is 4 to 5 years. So it is not immediate. The application, if they, and again, I'm not 100% sure of what MSBA's timeline is going to be because there's still some restrictions and they're behind. But if they do notify us in August, then we would have to go to town meeting in the fall. And at the town meeting in the fall, we would have to get appropriate, or have the town vote to appropriate funding for the design portion of the project. We have to have the schematics and the design work done first. And then you have to, at the ballot, get voting for the full project probably the following spring. And then it would be, probably they
Standard
say on
construction
average
time.
4 years from the time of application to the time it's constructed.
And at what point, I don't know if you can answer this, but what if we get denied? I mean, at some point, we just,
Yep.
I
So
know
if
we want to
you,
be. go
what
ahead.
we've talked about in the past, I am going to have NESEC come in and redo the enrollment study to see how we're tracking based on their projections, what happened with some of the 40B projects. Sometimes as they go through the process, the scope changes. So we want to get updated enrollment projections. And then at some point, the town is going to have to make a decision. If we are not accepted into MSBA, the town can vote to fund the project themselves. I think we have talked about, that we could probably hold for 2 years and that it was worth reapplying once if we were denied. But if we are not funded in the next round of applications, then I think the town's going to have to seriously consider moving forward with fully funding the project. Now, again, as we redo the enrollment projections, we may be able to alter the scope of the project slightly if we see declining enrollments anywhere. But we'd have to go on our own and contract that out and hire a project manager and an architect to do the design work and all of that.
I mean, at this point, just driving around, you can see we're not diminishing anytime soon.
Well, I think it's always best when we get to that point and have to make that decision to have the most current enrollment projection
Right.
information.
Yep.
I mean, part of why I would predict that we are seeing more growth than expected at the lower and less at the upper is the nature of the houses that have come on the market from these projects so far. So when we had the data analysis done and the data specialists come in, and you look at the research and past studies, homes that are 2 to 3 bedrooms, typically it's younger families that move in. And so many of the ones that have come on the market or have already sold may have been more marketable to younger students. And as other developments come on, larger homes, 4-bedroom homes, generally bring families with older children. So we want to update that, have all the current information so that the town can make the best decision as far as finances.
Thank you.
Sure.
And I have one question. How many times can you reapply?
You can continue to reapply, but my
It just keeps going out,
feeling would
obviously.
be after applying twice, if we continue to be declined, it may not be a project that MSBA is going to
Right,
take on.
ever gonna
I
take
mean,
on.
they did a very widespread study, it was about 2 years ago, of all the school buildings in the entire Commonwealth. And about 50% are aging out. So there is huge demand in terms of, they had 72 applications for new schools for their core program last year. So it's a matter of whether they can keep up with the demand and what the state budget allocates. So
And we, just for your edification, we had to go through 2 rounds of applications for the roof project at the
We
end
did.
of the day.
Okay.
So it's not, because
Not
they've said
unheard
no
of.
once is not indicative of a no forever. But
Right.
you also, I think, would come to a point where you're stretching the contemplation of the project out so long that what should cost one thing 5
Will
years
cost-
later will
right.
Right,
cost
it's
a
gonna
tremendous
cost
amount more.
But also then you need stopgaps. I mean, then you need to figure out what to
That's
do in the short
exactly
term. 'cause
why
every
we had
10
said
years-
originally, we really think after 2 years, if we can't procure funding, that we might need to go. Because you
different
will have to
solution.
think about mobile, and we brought some of that data, but the cost of mobile units, because you have to
They're
bring in plumbing and
disgusting.
septic, it's astronomical.
Well, and the
And so-
security aspects of it and how you
Yep.
can connect those in
I've,
for flow.
I've
'cause
worked
it's-
in one, they're
'cause the-
disgusting.
That's anecdotal.
But from a financial perspective, when you're spending $150,000 on site work to bring a mobile, that's money you don't recoup, it's just lost money.
It's just
And
gone.
every year, it's about a 7% cost escalation for construction costs. So there'll be a point, if we don't get invited to participate, that the town really has to think about what's the most fiscally responsible decision, and how are we gonna accommodate our kids as they age forward.
And
Right,
as
I mean,
quickly as possible.
And as
too.
a parent, I would be really upset if my child was learning, and had to go have therapy in the nurse's office in a somewhat worst case scenario, but when you get that crowded, I've seen it
Yeah.
in schools.
Well, and I think
Where you're in the
it's-
hallway.
It's important to bear in mind too, just for folks who might be watching this, or to the extent that it might be discussed in the future, is that the fact that MSBA has not accepted our proposal does not mean MSBA does not think that there is overcrowding in our schools.
No.
It just means that there
There's
are
a
districts
need.
that are in much more dire
Mhm.
circumstances and have been
Absolutely.
waiting in line up
Right.
until
Yeah.
this point.
And
So
again,
it's
they
not-
encouraged us to reapply because
Right.
it is a
Mhm.
viable project, and we have a good working relationship with MSBA. We've successfully completed 2 projects on time and on budget. But as Medora said, there were 72 applications, and they looked at safety first. So there are some schools that are unsafe
In
learning
dire
conditions,
straits, yeah.
unhealthy learning conditions, those have top priority.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they won't consider us. So we'll just,
No, I
we'll
think it's-
reapply, we'll see what the decision is, and then we'll have to strategize from there.
I think it's very hopeful. I just, as I said, I wouldn't want to see it go on too long.
Yep.
So.
Great. And then the last thing I have tonight is our current school payment system. So we use MCC, and that is the online system that parents use to pay preschool tuition or pay for for the SAC program. We've had it for a number of years, and we have, one of the things we liked about it was they had low fees for check processing. They charge us 25 cents per check. The school committee originally had voted to absorb that cost on the district side rather than pass the cost on to parents. It costs about $1,700 a year for that service. Unfortunately, MCC has gone out of business, and they are concluding as of this year, and they will no longer support the product after that. So our business office worked with Pam to research what other programs are out there. There are no programs existing that don't have a processing fee for credit card payment. We have found one that we think will be the best for the district. It is My School Bucks. It ties into the program we're currently using for our food service program. And it does have a service fee for processing credit card payments. It's comparable to all of the other programs that are out there. And we do offer parents the opportunity to mail payments, to drop payments off, or to send checks in. So it's a convenience fee. It's not a mandatory fee. There's many other ways parents can go about paying. So we are looking for the school committee's vote to approve us moving forward with a new vendor for our financial service management. And if you have any questions, I would defer to Pam, actually, because she worked with Barbara to research all the possible options.
Thank you, Pam. I'll make a motion to approve, I forgot what I was saying, the new program.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just have one quick question. It sounds like there's other options for them to pay. Is this, you don't have to opt out, right? It's completely your option to opt in.
Your option, yep.
The
So
same
when
way
you get a
that
bill
if you
from
want to
SAC,
send $3 in for lunch, you can send $3, like I did, like a crazy person for the first few years, and then somebody said, no, you can do it online.
I did the same.
Yeah.
the same thing. Okay, so they're not, it's not, there was something else we looked at where you have to opt out, but that's
yeah,
not
no,
what's
this,
happening.
it's just a convenience for people that want to pay their preschool fees or any other. We can also use it to do field trips, so if parents want to pay electronically for field trips.
Great.
It's just a convenience service, but they can always send a check in if they prefer, or they can always stop in the business office to pay a bill.
Is this the lunch one too, where you put your money in for the lunch?
Yeah, it's the same.
Is it the same?
My school books.
So next year, I mean, you're not accepting cash this year because of COVID, right? Everything's free, but next year it won't be? So parents can still
We
pay
haven't
cash?
heard for sure whether
Okay.
they may continue that
Oh,
another
okay.
year.
Okay.
But as of right now, everything is free.
Okay. Are you bringing snacks back? My children would like to know. Ice cream.
I'm going to defer that to the new
ice
food
cream.
service.
Bringing
rest.
back ice cream on Fridays?
Yeah.
What do we do with an unused balance in my school box? It's been pending for 18 months.
I think they carry that forward.
Transfer to another student.
But we were serving à la carte items. It had originally been restricted because of nutrition guidelines, but those have been loosened. The reason we're not serving now is around COVID.
That's what I figured.
So pending no
Hopefully.
other spikes in cases or no new restrictions, I would expect that we would return to serving some à la carte items in the fall.
I gotta start putting money in again.
All right,
Thank
so
you,
we
Pam,
just,
for doing that research.
Yeah,
That's
thank
a
you.
lot of work.
We
You need
we
to vote.
voted, right?
no, I don't think we voted.
We
Yeah.
started to.
We were
And I
discussing.
signed, I
So,
sidetracked
all in
again.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, there you go.
I don't think we have any committee reports tonight, because Sarah is not here for King Philip. And
Okay.
policy did not meet. We will meet again in August once MSA, what is that?
Jesse.
MASC issues their new policy updates, so we can prioritize.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda would be to review and hopefully approve the minutes of our May 19th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 19th, 2021 meeting.
I'll second.
There you go. Any,
I thought we were in rhythm.
any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 And the next school meeting, typically in August, we meet later in the month, closer to school opening, so I can give you a school opening update. So I would suggest we look at the Tuesday, August 24th.
So not
versus-
August 10th?
No.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fine with me.
I think that should be
I
fine.
think that.
Okay. And then we will just need a motion to end the meeting. One more time.
I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Any further discussion? All right,
Aye.
the meeting is adjourned. Oh,
Do we agree?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, the meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Good job, Medora.